Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
This Prime Minister and his Arrive scam are not worth the cost or the corruption. After yesterday's Auditor General revelations of corruption, waste and mismanagement, I have written the RCMP asking them to expand their criminal investigation into the Prime Minister's Arrive scam. He has a track record of blocking criminal investigations. He tried to protect SNC-Lavalin from prosecution. He blocked the RCMP from investigating his illegal vacation to Billionaire Island. Will he stay out of the way, or will he again try to block the RCMP's criminal investigation into Arrive scam?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
COVID-19 pandemic was a once-in-a-generation, even once-in-a-century occurrence in which every decision we took was designed to protect Canadians' lives. At the same time, Mr. Speaker, even in a situation like that, there are rules that need to be followed, and we expect, and all Canadians expect, public servants to follow those rules, and we will, of course, encourage the RCMP to do its work, but it doesn't take politicians, even leaders of the opposition, to tell the RCMP to do their job. They do their job, Mr. Speaker, and they do it well.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
They do their job unless the Prime Minister blocks them from doing their job, like he did in his criminal offence, where he committed the crime of accepting a gift from someone who was seeking a government contract from him. He blocked the RCMP from investigating him. And COVID-19 is something he saw as a once-in-a-generation opportunity to fill the pockets of his friends, whether it was the WE scandal, in which his family received $500,000, or whether it was Frank Baylis, or now the Arrive scam. Will he stay out of the way and let the police investigate him and his corrupt government in Arrive scam?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, even a few years later in the pandemic, we see the Conservative leader reverts to type. While we were focusing on protecting Canadians every possible way we could, they were peddling conspiracy theories, Mr. Speaker, about vaccinations, about what have you. So while he continues to make personal attacks, we're going to continue to make sure we're delivering for Canadians. And yes, we will make sure that all rules are followed, and there are consequences for people who broke the laws or broke the rules. But we will continue to be there for Canadians while he plays partisan games.
Good answer.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Proof that he's not worth the cost or the corruption. He's now calling the Auditor General a conspiracy theorist. Now that she's revealed that his Arrive scam went from $80,000 to at least $60 million and counting, that two insiders got $20 million working from their home basement from this Prime Minister, that top Liberal government officials accepted high-end whiskeys and dinners in exchange for contracts that they let the contractors write for themselves. So once again, will he stay out of the way and let the police investigate his government, or will he try to block it again?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
The opposition needs to work on his French. I think he just needs to work on his listening skills, because in French, 2 answers ago, I complimented and thanked the Auditor General for her work in ensuring that rules are followed and processes have consequences if they are misdone. This is a fact that we know that even during a pandemic, we need to be stepping up to protect people along the rules. That's why there will be consequences for anyone who broke those rules or those laws, while we continue to do everything we need to do to deliver for Canadians, to support people in their daily lives and build a better future for all Canadians.
Years of this NDP Liberal Prime Minister, we know that corruption is a feature and not a bug. SNC-Lavalin, We Charity, and now the Prime Minister's Arrive scam. Millions that Canadians won't get back. The grift and the mismanagement run so deep that the auditors couldn't even figure out how much got shipped off to Liberal insiders. So after what we learned yesterday, will the Prime Minister join us in calling for the RCMP to get to the bottom of all of it, every single dollar?
The Honourable Minister for Public Works.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And as we said yesterday, we welcome the Auditor General's report and will follow all of her recommendations when it comes to ArriveCAN. As the Minister for Public Safety said yesterday, some of the recommendations in the report have already been implemented, including implementing new measures to guarantee that tasks and deliverables are clearly defined in professional services contracts. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thornhill.
Minister, the call is coming from inside of the House. They want Canadians to believe that they unknowingly got robbed blind by their own Liberal insiders and that they are going to get to the bottom of the Prime Minister's ArriveCAN app, which, by the way, didn't work. We didn't need, and where 75% of contractors did no work but had time to buy the government whiskey. He is not worth the cost, and he is not worth the corruption, and Canadians want their $60 million back. No one trusts them to investigate themselves, so will the Prime Minister stand up right here, right now, and call in the Mounties?
The Honourable Minister of Public Services and Procurement.
Thank you to our colleague for the question. As we said yesterday, we thank again the Auditor General for her recommendations on the review of the ArriveCAN application. Some of the report's recommendations have already been implemented, including the introduction of new measures to ensure the tasks and deliverables are clearly defined in professional services contracts. Our departments take very seriously their duty to optimize resources.
Exactly.
The honourable member from Barrie Innisfil.
ArriveCAN is just like the Prime Minister, not worth the cost and not worth the corruption. The investigation and damning report issued by the Auditor General on ArriveCAN even shocked her. But really, after 8 years of this NDP Liberal government, no one should be shocked by the level of incompetence and wasteful spending Canadians have seen from this Prime Minister. Now, a reasonable thinking person could conclude from the report that ArriveCAN has reached a level of criminality. Yes. Will the Prime Minister join Conservatives and call on the RCMP to expand an investigation into ArriveCAN based on the revelations in the Auditor General's report?
Yes. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Public Safety.
As we've said in this House time and time again, any misconduct in the procurement process is unacceptable. We accept that the President of the CBSA has initiated internal audits and issued some initial reports. Mr. Speaker, she has also referred some of the concerning reports to the RCMP, but members opposite should know it's not politicians who direct the RCMP, it's the RCMP who does this work, and the RCMP will set the mandate for wherever the case may lead, and we will accept that work.
The honourable member from Barrie Innisfil.
The question was a simple one, really, Mr. Speaker, but after 8 years of this NDP Liberal government, who in this place or across Canada expects a proper response from a Prime Minister who's not worth the cost and not worth the corruption? The AG's report causes a reasonable person to conclude that what happened with ArriveCAN has reached a level of criminality that must be investigated. So I'm going to ask again, will the Prime Minister join Conservatives and call on the RCMP to expand an investigation into ArriveCAN based on the revelations that were contained in the Auditor General's report?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, we obviously accept the Auditor General's report. We thank her for this work. There are obviously some concerning allegations being initiated. This is precisely why CBSA initiated the audit. This is precisely why they then referred some materials to the RCMP. Mr. Speaker, it doesn't matter how many times the Conservatives say it. Politicians do not direct police investigations. It's the RCMP who will do this work, and we trust that they will follow the evidence, and again, procurement with any misconduct will come with consequences.
The Honourable Member for Charlesbourg-Haut-Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, yesterday the Auditor General confirmed our worst suspicions. The ArriveCAN app cost $60 million instead of $80,000. And she said that the files are in such a shoddy state that it's impossible to calculate the true cost. This is unheard of. We need to know, is this a matter of gross incompetence or corruption? Will the government ask the RCMP to investigate further? The Honourable Minister of Public Services and Procurement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There's a number of things we know. The RCMP operates at arm's length. And as the Prime Minister just said, we have confidence in their ability to do their job. Secondly, the Auditor General did indeed reveal some shocking conduct in the public service, and this is undesirable despite how urgent it was to take action and provide assistance to millions of Canadians. Many of the recommendations have already been implemented and others will be shortly. The Honourable Member for Charlebourg-Haute-Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, seems to me that when you want to shed light on things, a simple yes or no answer would do. We also learned that GC Strategies got $20 million, and there was no paperwork to confirm that anything was requested or delivered. And GC Strategies even got to set the terms of their contract. If the government has nothing to hide, they should say, yes, we want an RCMP investigation, and we want the scope of that investigation to be expanded. Will they? Yes or no? The Honourable Minister. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Once again, in a free democracy, it's not the government or governments that dictate to the police how they should do their jobs. That's not how things work in a democracy like ours that we're fortunate enough to live in. But public servants have responsibilities. The Auditor General did find shortcomings in the work done by the public service, and this is something that we need to take seriously.